welcome to episode 119 of the So Video Games podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If we are playing it, we will be talking about it. Today we are recording on February 18th, 2019. My name is Corey Motley. I am a staff writer at GameCritics.com. I'm also 50% of this show. And joining me, as always, is Brad Galloway. He is my partner in crime for every episode of the show, and he is the editor of Game Critics. How are you, Brad?
I am doing well. I was kind of dragging, but then we did the banter section, and I feel all pepped up. I feel awake. I feel kind of like the blood's flowing. I feel ready to go, man.
Yeah, I always sometimes feel that way. Like, we have to sit down and record, and I've had kind of a bad day, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a terrible show because I've had a long work day, or I'm tired, or I didn't get my afternoon nap in like the princess that I am. And then we talk about bullshit for like 45 minutes before we record the actual show. And then suddenly I'm like in good spirits and ready to go. It's so amazing how that happens.
It's kind of like magic, some would say.
I also feel like an idiot because whenever I was reading the date off for the show, February 18th, between our last show and this show, Valentine's Day happened. And like Patrick and I went on our first like real Valentine's date in several years, because usually we just like don't really do anything because we're not like, you know, we don't really make a big deal out of it. But we went to like a kind of a nice restaurant in town and had like a 7-course dinner, and it was pretty amazing. And
how did you fit it all in?
I don't. Well, it was like fancy, so the courses were kind of small. You know, it was like one of those. But I should have talked about it on Banter, and I forgot. And now I feel like the worst husband in the world because like we went on a really serious date, and then I just totally forgot to talk about it.
Well, you can always talk about it next week.
That's true. I certainly can. Hopefully, I mean, my life's pretty boring, so I'm sure nothing like super exciting will happen between now and then. And if nothing does, then I'll have to circle back and talk about Valentine's Day.
Why not? Why not, indeed? I mean, we're all friends here. We talk about things a little late. Who cares? It doesn't matter as long as the story is good.
It's true. It's true. The problem therein lies with the story actually being good, because the story is going to be like, oh, we ate a shitload of food and then went to bed, and that's like the whole story.
Well, I guess maybe you could spice it up a little bit between now and then, so maybe get creative and we'll see what happens.
It's true. I do have a good imagination sometimes, so maybe I can fashion something good out of this. But
there you go.
Yes. Do you have any housekeeping notes before we start Games Chat or anything?
I do have no housekeeping notes. I think this week the house is clean for me. How's your house looking?
Hell yeah, my house is clean as well. I don't have anything. The only thing I want to warn everybody about is the fact that I guess like half the stuff we're talking about this week, you and I have both played. We're like on a roll because last week we both played a bunch of stuff we talked about, and this week we both played a bunch of stuff we talked about. Or we're going to talk about. So like we can actually have some like discussions about this stuff. This is good.
I mean, I'm glad we're finally getting in the groove, because longtime listeners of the show, and of course we, will know that was kind of like our original intent way back when we started, because we were thinking, it's only two people. We can be really nimble. At the time, I think both of our schedules were much more flexible. We were like, okay, yeah, maybe like on a Monday, I'll email you and I'll be like, hey, play this and this. And you'll be like, okay, then you play this and this. And then by the time it came to record, we would ideally have, a couple games that we would like just talk about. And it was going to be a nice and tight 45 minutes total. And we would just, have this in sync podcast, and of course none of that came true. None of that happened.
None of it.
And like last year, I think we maybe played the same game maybe once in all of 2018. So we are doing much better in 2019. We've got some real momentum going, dude.
I know. It also like helps. This is like a total cop out, but the fact that like we're just playing a bunch of demos and betas together. So it's like we can take like 1 hour of our day to play this demo that we both have access to for free. But we just, that's fine. We can play whatever we want, even if it's a 1 hour demo. That way we can both discuss it, and that's that.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works. And I'm sure people who listen to the Banter will figure it out. But with my schedule right now, playing a couple demos is basically all I can squeeze in. So at least we've got that.
You say that, and you have like 6 games slated, so I don't even want to hear it, man.
Well, I'm only going to talk about each one for 30 seconds, so I think it'll all work out in the end.
That is a lie, and we both know it.
Probably true. All right, well, let's just roll into it, dude, if you don't mind. If you want to just go for it?
Let's go for it.
All right, so my work schedule is pretty crazy right now, and basically all I have time for is to bring the Switch with me. Excuse me. I mean, I'm playing like Puzzle Quest when I'm in the bathroom, or like 5 minutes before I fall asleep in bed. But like otherwise, I just don't have time to sit in front of a console very much. So what I've been doing is I'm bringing the Switch, and we talked a couple of times about how crazy some of the sales have been on Switch, and like some of these titles I've had my eye on for a while have been like real cheap, like $1, $2, $3, $5, which to me is all well within experimental territory. So if I pony up for something and it turns out to be a loser, I mean, yeah, I'm upset I'm out a couple bucks, but it's not like the end of the world, right? I mean, I don't go to Starbucks very often, so I figure all the coffee I might be buying, instead of supporting indie developers, that makes me feel a little bit better about the whole thing, so whatever. I have 3 games that I'm just going to quick hit really, really quickly. and then we will move on to the co-op discussion later on. The first one I want to bring up is called Of Mice and Sand Revised. I've had my eye on this one for quite a while. It was one of the earliest Switch titles to be released, I think. At least I remember seeing it for a long time. And so this game is a 2D kind of pixel-based title where you play as a group of mice in a post-apocalyptic universe. So you're pretty much on Earth, because you will find some things that look like well, that'll be familiar to anybody who lives on Earth. You'll see some monuments and some things that very clearly make it Earth. You're in a desert, and what happens is you get this little vehicle. It kind of looks like the Sandcrawler from Star Wars. You know those Jawas from Star Wars? Those little dudes in little cloaks in the first movie where they got the glowing eyes. They collect scrap on Tatooine. You know what I'm talking about, Corey?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. You basically are a Jawa, except you're a mouse instead of a Jawa. And you have a big Sandcrawler that looks just like that, sort of. And then you just go around from town to town in the desert. And as you drive, you pick up scrap in the desert that you find. So you start off at a town, you look at your map, you pick a town you want to go to, you chart your course, and then you go. And then as you drive, you pick up scrap. So by the time you get there, you will have accumulated a few pieces of scrap that you can either build things with, you can sell the scrap, and then when you get to the town, there'll be a couple quests where somebody will be like, hey, I really need like 5 hubcaps. If you find 5 hubcaps, then give them to me, and I'll give you $100. And so you have to make money to refuel your Sandcrawler. You have to buy food for the mice that are inside the Sandcrawler. And you have to buy other supplies every once in a while. So basically, that's the loop of the game. Pick a town, drive to the town, collect scrap on the way. When you get there, hopefully the scrap you collect will mean that you can give some of that scrap to fulfill a quest, or you can build something out of it. And you kind of just do that over and over. The other part of the game is that you kind of manage your mice. Like you can build little rooms inside your Sandcrawler. So you can build like a workshop or an extra bedroom or a kitchen or something like that. And that'll have like various, attributes to your ship. It'll give you like some bonuses or something. And so eventually you'll find a guy who wants to sell you like a bigger ship. So your ship gets bigger and bigger, more complicated. You'll have more and more rooms. You'll pick up more mice as you go. But the whole thing underlying the idea of the game is just you're kind of going from town to town, scouring the desert like those Jawas in Star Wars. And that's kind of the loop. I will say, this game is incredibly cute. I love the way it looks. That was really what grabbed me about it. I looked at it and I wasn't really sure it was going to be my jam, but I just love the way it looked, and just the idea was kind of cool. I like the idea of this having this little ant farm that was on wheels or treads, that going from town to town, kind of doing these little things. Interesting enough to get me to pony up a couple bucks for it, and I put maybe like 2 days into it, but I gotta say it doesn't have enough under the hood. Like once you get past the basic loop, once you know what you're doing, you're just kind of grinding over and over and over, because the costs for things go up really quickly. You're constantly running out of fuel, so you got to make more money to buy fuel, but then you need the money to buy food, but then you bought the food and then you don't have enough money for the fuel, so you got to like do these little scouring runs over and over to get more scrap, and then eventually you just have to like craft stuff, so you have to like upgrade stuff and craft some more stuff and then sell that stuff. And I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's really grindy. And I really like where it was going. Like, I like the concept. I like just the basic, just the energy that's putting off. Like, it feels like it's in a pretty good zone. But I just couldn't keep up with the grinding. Like, it got to be repetitive too quickly, and there wasn't enough story. There wasn't enough action. There wasn't enough anything outside of that core loop. And so after like 2 days, I'm like, okay, I'm done. All I'm doing is grinding resources and building more things that take more resources, and I'm grinding more resources. So I quit it. It's really cute. I kind of wish it was better than it was. Like I really feel like it was going in the right direction. It just didn't get to where it needed to be. So that was kind of sad, and I think I just bailed. I'm not going to come back to it. I will not probably ever talk about it again. Questions, thoughts?
Not really. Doesn't sound like something I would be into, and it kind of sounds like if I played this, I would get bored pretty quickly. If you had to, like, let me ask one question. If you had to think of something you could inject into this game that would make it better or make you want to come back to it, what would it be?
I think if they just cut all the requirements for everything in half, like if just everything was cheaper, if you only had to grind half as much, I think I probably would have stayed in a lot longer. Because I was reading on some message boards and they say that, oh, you know, combat becomes a bigger part later on when your ship gets like combat capabilities, like you start putting more guns on it and there's monsters in the desert. I mean, that all sounds kind of cool. It just takes too long to get there. So I think if they cut everything in half, I think I probably would have, I don't know if I would have gone the distance, but I would have played it for a lot longer than I did. So I'll say that much.
All right, roger that.
All right, moving on. I was in a very experimental mood, giving a lot of indies the time of day, and I saw one called Mimic Hunter. Didn't know anything about it. I just thought the art looked kind of cute, and it was a couple bucks, so I thought, okay, sure, I'm going to pony up. I can't exactly tell you what it's about. You play as like a mouse who's wearing kind of like a Three Musketeers outfit with like the poofy hat with the feather, and he's got like a rapier or something. And there's like a tower. You know, I love tower games. Anything I got to climb to the top of, I love doing that. I don't know why. It's a sickness. So I start the game, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cute. It's kind of like a black and whitish sort of an art. Obviously an indie, but, you know, whatever. I can let some jank go. But, like, the tutorial was, like, terrible. Like, it was not explaining really basic things like how to jump or how the attacking works. Or it's like, go to this door and go in the door, but it didn't tell you how to even go in the door. Like I went to it and I'm like, push up, that didn't work. Push A, that didn't work. Push down, nope. No, over to the side, no. Hold the button, nope. Shoulder button, nope. And like eventually, like once I had gone through like every function on the controller, I finally figured it out. But it's like, you could have just fucking told me how to go in the door. It would have saved me like, 90 seconds of trying to figure it out. The same thing for like this other part where they want you to do this thing. Go and fight this monster. Okay, but I don't know how your combat works. I don't even know how your jumping works. Like, I couldn't figure out how to jump. And I'm like, dude, have you guys never, ever played a fucking tutorial before? Like, these are... Just explain to me what your fucking game does. What is going on? Like, they didn't even get me through the tutorial. I didn't even understand what the point of the game was. I just got really irritated with it because it's like... My time is fucking precious, dude. My time is fucking precious. And I'm fine putting up with subpar graphics or rough performance or like janky design. But like, do your fucking part, man. Like, get me inside your game. Explain what the hell is going on because I am not you. And if I didn't create this game, I don't know how your game works. So please explain to me how this game works. They didn't even do that. I was like, fuck it. Like, fuck this thing. If I can't even get through the tutorial without getting pissed off, there's no way I'm going to play this game. So I just fucking deleted it. I'm like, man, I want to give you indies some help, but you got to help me. And whoever is responsible for Mimic Hunter, like, please examine your life choices. Please look at other games on the Switch. Please look at games in general. This is not how games are designed. What you did was embarrassing. So please go back and fix it. It's terrible. So that's all I saw of Mimic Hunter, and I really regretted spending the $2 on it. I wish I would have just, like, thrown it down the toilet or something instead. The final one, Solstice Chronicles. This came out on PC a while ago, and I believe Dan Weissenberger at Game Critics reviewed it. I think he was pretty positive on it. And I remembered seeing it, like the cover art, kind of Doom-like, and I'm always up for a good top-down shooter, especially on the Switch. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll check this out. And it's basically like Doom from a top-down perspective. It looks a lot like Doom from a top-down perspective. You play this kind of like weird Marine. You have a couple different armor sets you can pick from at the beginning. I think there's like 4 different starting sets. Not really sure what they do, but they give you the option. You have a little robot drone that goes with you who's got some powers. And then you just like are released into these levels and just basically shoot everything and survive. I mean, again, just like Doom from a top-down perspective. Again, just like Mimic Hunter, terrible tutorial. Do not explain basic functions. I got stuck like 45 seconds into the game just trying to figure out what button I was supposed to hit or what I was supposed to do, or I got stuck in this level where I was just like walking around and around and around and I couldn't figure out like where to go, and I'm like, dude, this is not starting well. I eventually just got kind of bored and frustrated, and I was like, no. I mean, again, just like Mimic Hunter, if you can't get me interested in the first, like if you can't get me through your tutorial, what's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong? Like, literally, what is wrong with you as a person? What is wrong with you? Go back and like fix this, because it's not asking too much for someone to explain, this is the flow of the game. This is how the game plays. These are the things you need to know. Just fucking walk me through it. Okay. Like, just do it in a clear and concise fashion. So I bailed out of that one probably after like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, I just don't even, you're not telling me what I need to know. I don't feel like I have enough patience for you right now, because there's like 10,000 fucking other games I could be playing right now. And if you're not even going to get me through this, I'm not going to give you the time of day. So I bailed out of Solstice Chronicles pretty quickly. But if anybody out there wants a really crappy top-down Doom-like, then I guess you can check it out. I will never play it again. I will never talk about it again. So those are my 3 quick hits on the Switch. Unfortunately, they were all stinkers. That was not planned, but that's what happened, and here we are. Corey, thoughts, feelings, ideas?
At least they were all cheap, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't spend too much on any of them, which is great. I mean, if I had to spend like 10 or 15 bucks on any of these, I would have been pretty pissed. So I guess it's good. But at the same time, throwing money away is throwing money away, and I really don't like doing that. So I don't know that I necessarily want to say that Nintendo needs to step up on its curation, but maybe they want to step up on their curation a little bit. Also, one thing that is kind of interesting, I'm going to ask you your opinion on this, because I honestly don't know, but when I played my Switch, I didn't realize there was a fan in it for the longest time. For like a year, I didn't know there was no fan in it, because every game I played wasn't really taxing the system that much, and so there was never any reason for the fan to turn on. But now, when I play a game where the fan is on, I'm like, oh, the Switch is working really hard. And if it's a game where I don't feel like it's very technologically advanced, it's like, oh, this must be not very well optimized, because the Switch is like struggling to play this because the fan kicks on. And, I mean, do you notice that often? Do you play on games with a fan on? Do you feel like that same idea? You feel like your Switch is working hard?
I actually don't think I knew it had a fan until this moment in time.
So find some really graphically intense game that was originally on another platform, and if you play that on the Switch, maybe not if you're in a noisy room, but like usually I'm on the couch or I'm in bed or something. It surprised the fuck out of me the first time I heard the fan. I'm like, what is going? Is it the drive? Is it dying? Is this thing going to catch fire? What's going on? But yeah, there is a fan that kicks on when it's pushing a lot of 3D graphics or when it's working really hard. So these days when I play something with a fan, I'm like, must not be very well optimized. I don't know if that's true. It could be totally a fallacy on my part, but that's what I think. And Solstice Chronicles had the fan going like gangbusters, so I was like, that's another reason to delete it. No need to burn out my Switch before its time is due. So anyway, that's enough of those, man. Let's move on to something else. I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about what people told me was the second Devil May Cry 5 demo. I didn't know that there was a first one, and I certainly didn't know there was a second one. But tell us about the Devil May Cry 5 demo, kind sir.
Okay, so I actually did know that there was a first one, but I'm not exactly sure how it came about. I think what happened was Capcom released a Devil May Cry 5 demo on the Xbox One only, and not on the PlayStation 4, so that's probably why you weren't really aware of it, because I know you don't play your Xbox One that much. Neither do I, to be frank, And then I think they pulled the demo off the Xbox One store in preparation to put the second demo up. And then like a month later, or however amount of time later, they put up the Devil May Cry 5 demo. I'm assuming it's a different demo, because if it wasn't, then why would they pull it off the Xbox? But I think they pulled the first one and then they put the second one up, and it's on both systems now. So, so in case you didn't know, there is a Devil May Cry 5 demo out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 right now. It's free. I don't know how long it is because I didn't finish it. But it's basically just a demo for Devil May Cry 5. I don't know what else there is to say. So, in the demo, you play as Nero, who is the Devil May Cry 4 protagonist. He looks kind of like Dante, but he's like younger.
He looks exactly like Dante. I don't even understand that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I guess, like, Dante, when I think of Dante, I think of, like, red armor and, like, long flowing locks of white hair, but Nero has, like, short, kind of, like, spiky hair a little bit, and he's just, like, younger. Like, he could be, like, his, like, younger brother or, like, his son or something. But the thing that fascinates me is, like, whenever DMC came out, like, I don't know, like, 5 or 6 years ago or whenever it came out, which is, like, I would like say it's like largely regarded as like the best Devil May Cry, and for some reason, like Capcom put DMC out and then just pretended like it never happened. Like they like seem to have no interest in like going back to that timeline because DMC like kind of rebooted Devil May Cry, and I would argue in a very good way because that's the only Devil May Cry that I've been like in love with. And then, like, what, because, like, Dante was younger, he had black hair instead of white hair, he was kind of like a wisecracking, like, goth punk kind of kid, and he, like, found his way into this demon universe, and the whole game was kind of like this clash of, like, the demon universe and the human universe, and I thought it was really, really well executed. But the thing that fascinates me is that Nero in Devil May Cry 5 looks pretty much exactly like DMC Dante, but with short hair, and it's white hair. I mean, I guess white hair because his hair was short in DMC, but he looks just like him, but with white hair, short white hair instead of short black hair, and like a fake arm because that's kind of like Nero's thing is he has like the devil arm, which is now it's like full on like Metal Gear Solid 5, like looks basically like Snake's prosthetic arm in Metal Gear Solid 5, and so. I mean, I don't know what all to say here. The Devil May Cry 5 demo, it feels like Devil May Cry. If you've played Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, or 4, it feels pretty much just like those. I don't know if that's a for better or for worse thing. It's third-person camera. It's a third-person action-adventure game. It's a lot of melee combat with a giant sword. You have guns, but they're not really that effective. They're just kind of like a stopgap for combos. You have, like, special moves you can do. Nero has his prosthetic arm that can, like, he has different abilities he can use for it, and some of them are projectile. Like, you can, like, launch the arm off to hit people. You can shoot this, like, energy beam out of it. You can use it to grapple enemies and pull them toward you, and, like, kind of like a grappling hook style. You can jump in the air and use the arm to pull them up in the air with you, and then, like, slash them in the air. The demo is, I don't know how long the demo is. I'm assuming it's one level and then a boss fight, because what happened to me was I played through the level and then I got to the boss fight and I got about most of the way through the boss fight and I died. And I was like, oh man, this is a bummer. And I was like ready to turn the game off, but I was like, I'll load the checkpoint. I'll give it one more shot. So I die in the boss fight. I load the game and it starts the level completely over, to which I said, no, I'm not going to play the level all over again. I'm turning this off. It was fine for what it was. I will probably gamefly this when it comes out and play it. I'm not expecting it to be amazing because I think I like DMC so much that Devil May Cry 5 is kind of like a return to form on the older version of the series. But I don't know what else to say. Brad, you played it. What were your impressions and feedback on stuff I said?
Yes. Once again, we are in agreement. I loved DMC. That was, to me, by far the best the series has ever been. And I don't understand why Capcom turned their back on it. They must be paying way too much attention to the whiny fucking piss baby fanboys who, like, pitched a fit that his hair was the wrong color in that game, or that they retcon, or they changed some of his backstory, or whatever. I mean, whatever. There was a huge outcry from the quote-unquote fans who, like, kind of, like, fought against the game, despite the fact that it was the best Devil May Cry, by far. So that was my favorite. Strongly recommend it to anybody, even if you don't like DMC or Devil May Cry. Even if you don't like it, give it a try. It's better than the other ones by, like, a mile. So I played this DMC Devil May Cry 5 demo. I was really bored, like, right away. Like, I've never liked Devil May Cry that much. I've played them all, and I think no, that's not true. I never finished 4, but I did play 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 Special Edition, and then DMC. So I've played 4 of the 5 games. Did not finish 4 because it was too boring. But I just don't think this game is fun. I don't think this game is really entertaining. It's never really been that entertaining. You just, like, whack monsters over and over and over, going for, like, a good combo, and you just, like, have these different combos that you do, and it's just the whole thing is just really tiresome. I think Dante as a character is really tiresome. Also, I think he was the best in DMC, but like just in general, he's got like too much toot, and the jokes are never funny, and it's just none of it is clever as it seems to think it is, and I just get really bored of it. So, I mean, I played just like you did. I played through the demo. Interestingly, they don't tell you how to dodge. Did you know how to dodge? I couldn't figure out how to dodge until afterwards.
I figured it out like during the boss battle at the end of the first level, and it didn't really come too much in handy at that point.
Okay, well, I didn't know how to dodge, and I'm like, I know this game's all about dodging. I don't know what the dodge is. The demo doesn't tell you. Again, another tutorial failure, but played through the level. I'm like, this is really boring. I'm whacking guys with my sword, and then you have like 4 different flavors of your robot arm. I mean, big whoop. I just wasn't really feeling it. I don't like Nero. I think that the very fact that Nero exists is really stupid to me because he looks way too much like Dante, and I don't know what the narrative explanation is for it, but just as a person who's kind of like on the periphery of Devil May Cry, it's really dumb that there's another person like Dante who looks just like Dante, and I honestly can't tell them apart. So that's dumb, and just the action is just dull. I just don't like the way it plays. It's not interesting to me. It's not very engaging. Got to the boss. I got the boss down to like a sliver, and then I got killed. And then like you said, it went back to the beginning of the demo, and I'm like, there's no way I'm playing this again. I could barely sit through it the first time. So yeah, not impressed. It takes Devil May Cry back to the kind of Devil May Cry that I never liked, that I think is not actually very good. I wish that they would have just kept it with Ninja Theory, who are the ones who did DMC. I think they did a fantastic job, outstanding job. I wish they would do more of that, but they're not doing that. So I don't care. I will not play this game. I have no interest in this game. It's really just not my cup of tea. I am zero interested in what they've done here. Writing looks stupid. The character seems stupid. I have no affection for it whatsoever.
Yeah, I think the thing that has kind of always been the thorn in my side about the Devil May Cry series, and this was partially untrue about DMC, but it was pretty much true about the rest of them, is that I've probably said on the show about 400 times that, I'm not really the one for like super fast, like melee action games. Like I can play them, but it's not like my bread and butter. But whenever it comes to these sort of like third person, like melee based weapon combat games, I still consider like Ninja Gaiden to be like the gold standard, and specifically probably Ninja Gaiden Black on the Xbox, and maybe like Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360 are kind of like my go-tos for like just like that kind of action, because it's incredibly fast, it's incredibly ferocious, and it's the kind of game where you have to block when you're not attacking, you have to block 100% of the time, or else you're going to get your ass handed to you in about 22 seconds flat, maybe not even that. And like the dodge is really intuitive, and it's the kind of game where even when you block, there's very little that can break your block. So like you pretty much know you're safe as long as you're holding the block button. It doesn't have any of that Dark Souls bullshit stamina crap. Like you can just attack as much as you want, as often as you want, but you really have to be on guard and kind of do like a, kind of a cat and mouse thing with combat, especially whenever you're overwhelmed with people. And I just think the combat in most of the Ninja Gaiden games is incredibly satisfying, and I really just like how quick and how kind of ferocious they are. And they are punishing, but they're not too punishing, except for the boss battles, because all the bosses in Ninja Gaiden are fucking absolute horseshit, awful. But the like level to level combat is usually pretty incredible and usually fair, as long as like you know what you're doing and you're kind of like on top of your shit. But like Devil May Cry, it's just kind of boring. Like you have like your one melee attack button, you have your one gun attack button, so there's not even like a light and heavy attack. And then you have your like grapple / arm projectile, devil arm projectile attack thing. And so basically all you're doing is just like mashing the same button over and over and over again to do like combos on these enemies. And it doesn't feel like, I know, if you press the button, like if you hold forward and press the button, or if you lock on and hold forward and press the attack button, like the attacks will vary a little bit. Or if you're locked on and you hold the stick away from the enemy and press the attack button, he'll like launch him into the air. So there's like some variation in there. But like, I don't want to like have to learn all of these like button specific combos to play your game. Like the base combat should be fast and fun enough to keep me in. And DMC is the only game out of the entire Devil May Cry franchise that I felt like had like good, fluid, fast enough action to satisfy me, where it doesn't just feel like I'm pressing the same button over and over and over again. And like they do have like every character has guns in the game, but the guns are like fucking useless. Like you shoot your gun and it takes like a 0.5% off the character's health or off the enemy's health. So basically, all you're using the guns for is to like keep periphery enemies at bay or to like keep your combo going, because like the combo is a big thing in Devil May Cry. And I'm just like, why even give us the guns if they're going to be so useless and so like, you know, like BB guns toward the enemies? I just kind of would rather have like two like melee attack buttons rather than have projectiles, because they basically are worthless. So I don't know, like I'll probably play Devil May Cry 5 when it comes out, but like the combat in Devil May Cry, like DMC aside, has just never been that engaging or that fun or that fluid. It just feels very, I don't know, kind of like utilitarian and not very stylish, which is weird because like the game wants you to think that it's built on style. Like it kind of touts its style left and right, but the combat does not feel stylish. It just feels like you're pressing the same button over and over and over again until every enemy in the vicinity is dead, and it's boring.
Yeah, I think this is a very specific sort of a game, and it just doesn't appeal to me. Like you said, like it does kind of feel like you're doing the same thing over and over, and you know, running into a room, and then I have this specific weapon, and this, if I do this button press, it combos this way, and I can keep somebody juggled in the air this way, and I'm just not interested in it. I don't like the story. The stories are never good. I don't like the characters. I think the characters are fucking obnoxious. I just don't like the style of the game in general. And I mean, those are all very important things to me. So like, there's no way that the combat can just like keep my attention if I don't like any of the other stuff about the game, you know? And I just don't like the way that it feels. Like, you know, you collect a bunch of points, you go into a shop, you buy a weapon, equip the weapon, come back and just do some more combos. I mean, if people, and I know there's people out there, I mean, I kind of was testing the waters on Twitter, and I had a couple of people who were like very staunch fans of the series, which is great. If you love it, that's fine. It's not a personal judgment that I don't like it and you do. It's just a, you know, difference in taste and all that. But like, I just find very little to be appealing about this game. I just 100% not in my wheelhouse. Although I do play action games, I do like you know, action genre in general, but just not this one. I just do not like this one at all. So I'm gonna pass it up. I don't think I'm even gonna try to play it, and I'm just gonna move on and forget that it exists.
All right, well, it's settled then. We have one person half sold on Devil May Cry, the other person not sold at all on Devil May Cry. Do you want to move on to the next demo we have in store to talk about? I want you to lead with this one.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's move on to Daemon X Machina. Demo is available on Switch right now. First thing I'll say, that's a terrible title. They should change the title immediately. Not only is Daemon spelled like the weird way, Daemon, like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't tell anybody anything about the game. Like maybe it's a JRPG, maybe it's an action game, maybe it's a fighting game. Like who knows? It doesn't say anything about the game. It's a terrible title. But I downloaded this game on Switch. The demo is available, like I said. Long story short, if you're old enough, if you're an old gamer like me, you might have played Armored Core back in the day. I have talked about it here on the show every once in a while. But Armored Core was a game where you built your own mech suit. Like you could have a million different torso pieces. There was a million different arms, a million different heads and legs and boosters and guns and swords. And I mean, like hundreds of pieces, dude, like hundreds of pieces. You could do like a mech that had like rocket launchers and 4 legs, or there could be one that always flew and had little swords, or you could have a heavy machine gunner, like whatever, dude, like whatever you could imagine. Armored Core will let you build it. Like it was, you could just do basically whatever you wanted to do. So basically the joy of that was like building your own mech. You had to balance like the power output with how much it weighed, with how much heat it generated. I mean, a real kind of a gearhead tinkering sort of a thing. And then once you built a one that you liked, you would take it out and do different missions. Like you would attack other mechs, or you could do like attack a city or attack vehicles or something. Like there's all sorts of different missions. I love that series a lot. Spent a lot of time on it. I was like the expert on Armored Core at Game Critics for many years. And then it kind of lost steam and it kind of just petered out. And I think everybody just got kind of tired of it, and it went away. The people behind that were FromSoft. They went on to make the Dark Souls series. So you know what they've been doing lately. But I believe this game, Daemon Ex Machina, I think is from people who used to be at FromSoft, I believe. If I am mistaken, someone please correct me, but I'm pretty sure there's a couple people who used to work on the actual Armored Core series. And so when I played this game on the Switch, I'm like, holy shit, this is literally Armored Core. Like, this is what this game is. Stupid title, but like when you get into it, that's what it is. You make your own mech. You take it on and you do different missions. You fight other mechs. You assault cities. You fight big robots. You tinker with the pieces you have. You change the body parts. You make whatever kind of mech you want. It is literally Armored Core. So I was like, holy shit, this is literally Armored Core. I haven't played this in like a decade or whatever. I'm super ready for this to come back. And in fact, before FromSoft announced, what is the game they're working on now? The one that's coming out, the ninja one. You know the one I'm talking about?
Oh, is it the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice?
Yeah. Before they announced that, I was really hoping FromSoft was going to announce they were bringing back Armored Core, but they didn't. So I was kind of disappointed. I mean, I'm sure Sekiro is going to be great. I'll play it, whatever. But in my heart of hearts, I was like, ooh, I really hope they bring back Armored Core. That thing's been dormant forever. But these people brought it back. Like, this is literally Armored Core. That's what this is. And I like it a lot. I realize it's a very specific thing, and to be perfectly honest with you, the demo wasn't great because they didn't explain certain things, but me having played like 27 Armored Core games and knowing them in and out, like a lot of that knowledge transferred over. So I was like, oh, I bet if I do this, that's gonna work. Yep, totally worked. Oh, I bet if I do this, that's gonna work. Yep, that worked too. So I was able to do pretty well with the demo solely because I had this accumulated knowledge from Armored Core. I know for a fact not everybody has that. Not everybody's played that series. So the demo could have done a much better job of explaining itself. I don't think the demo was very good. But for an Armored Core vet like me, I was like, oh shit, this is like all the stuff I played before. Exactly the same, except for like it kind of looks better. They've added some quality of life things. There are some neat aspects to it that were never in Armored Core. I mean, it's a third person, just like Armored Core was, but you can fly around. They give you much more freedom with the flying, which is great. You can also zip around on the ground. And the interesting thing was, like, if your mech gets blown up, you can actually jump out of your mech and fight as a person, which you could never do in Armored Core. It totally blew my mind when that happened. Like, I took some damage, suit went down, my pilot hops out, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm still in the fight. What's going on? Like, I totally expected it was going to be a game over, but I have my little person. She had a little, like, a drone that was firing lasers. And I'm like, holy shit, this is really fun. I got smashed immediately. Like, a robot stepped on me. Okay, fair play. But, I mean, it was cool that you could even do that, you know? So, for someone like me who was, like, an Armored Core junkie for many years, this is an awesome return to form. And I felt like coming home, and I'm really, really excited for it. But I suspect you will have a very different opinion. What was your opinion, Corey?
Well, the funny thing for me is that I don't think I ever really got into Armored Core, but I think anybody of our age who owned a PlayStation 1 in any capacity will remember that Armored Core was like the top build game on every demo disc ever that came with every PlayStation 1. So I played the hell out of demo disc Armored Core like back in the day. But I don't know if I ever actually played a full release Armored Core because and to be totally like transparent, I was too young probably at the time to like really understand how to like kit the robots properly, you know, and if you put this arm on, then you're overweight by this much, or if you put these legs on, you have to do this to, like, you know, balance it or whatever. Like, I think that was too technical for me at the time because I was like, I don't know, like 12 years old or something, maybe even younger. But the interesting thing is that I downloaded this demo basically not knowing anything about it on the Switch, and whenever I played it, I was definitely able to pick up on some of the Armored Core stuff, but when I played it, I thought, wow, this is like Zone of the Enders.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's not the same as Zone of the Enders, but Zone of the Enders, for those who don't know, was a PlayStation 2, I'm going to call it a franchise, even though it was only 2 games, very famously made by Hideo Kojima, and probably the biggest, like, I don't know, gimmick in the history of the world is that the first Zone of the Enders game launched with a demo disc for Metal Gear Solid 2, so everybody bought Zone of the Enders just so they could play the demo of Metal Gear Solid 2, but little did they know, Zone of the Enders was actually an incredible game. It was like a lightning-fast 3D mech fighting robot game where, you know, it wasn't slow, it wasn't plodding, like you were these really quick mechs flying through the air. You had different, like a short range sword attack. You had the kind of a machine gunny attack. You could like make this giant bomb orb over your head and then like spike it to your enemies like you're a freaking mech volleyball player. And I just really liked Zone of the Enders because the action was, I mean, it's just like Ninja Gaiden. Like the action was really fast, it was really fluid, it was really satisfying. And so when I booted up this game on Switch, I you know, kind of got into it. I was like, wow, this feels a lot like Zone of the Enders to me. And I mean, Zone of the Enders is very, very, very steeped in like anime aesthetics. And like Daemon X Machina is a little bit, but I would argue not as much. And it's also not as futuristic looking as Zone of the Enders. It's also not as fast as Zone of the Enders. And that's kind of where this game takes a little bit of a hit for me, because just moving around in the environment, you know, flying, running, even when you use your boost, it just feels a little bit too slow and a little bit too cumbersome for me to like really put it on par with Zone of the Enders. But like the whole time I was playing it, I just kept relating it to that game because I really like Zone of the Enders a lot. And I kept thinking like, wow, maybe this could be like the next thing. And something that I liked about Daemon X Machina is that there's a lot of customization options. Like whenever you start the game, you pick your pilot, you can do a man or a woman. They have this like weird jumpsuit on, and you can like color code the jumpsuit however you want. You choose the hair, you choose the eyes. I wasn't really expecting that. I thought it was just going to drop me in and let me play. And then you get sort of like in an Anthem kind of way too. Your like suit that you have, your mech suit, you can like color code it. And just like you said, whenever you scrap stuff in the battlefield, you can put different weapons on, different head, different body, different legs. You can basically kit it out however you want depending on what you get in the battlefield. And like there are opportunities to do that in the demo, but I wish that they would give you a little bit more to do it. Like it would be cool if you know, by the end of the demo you had like 3 or 4 different sets of every kind of body part, so you could like really customize it the way you want and really feel the differences, and sort of like how like the class or the attacks or defense or movement changes based on how you kit it out. But I mean, I played it. There's like 3 missions in the demo, or at least 3 that I played. There's like a kind of a tutorial, like test mission, and then there's a couple of, you know, just like missions, I guess. And I mean, I kind of like this. I'm not in love with it because it feels a little bit too slow for me. I also feel like it's kind of a little bit cumbersome to control on the Switch. I do have a Switch Pro controller, so like if I hooked it up to the TV and used the Pro controller, I do think I would like it more that way, but I did play it in handheld mode earlier. So I'm like pretty like lukewarm on it. Like maybe I might rent it whenever it comes out officially and give it a shot like in real life, because I'm always looking for new stuff to play on the Switch. But I do think it's interesting that when you played it, you went straight to Armored Core. And when I played it, I went straight to Zone of the Enders. And it might not be maybe as good as either of those. I mean, probably closer to Armored Core than Zone of the Enders, because it seems like kind of a natural progression of that. But just like the movement and it feels like, because you can fly for like an infinite amount of time, which really makes me think of Zone of the Enders, and you have like your boosts in every direction and everything. But I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm. Like I'm not in love. I don't hate it. I do think it's kind of refreshing because I haven't really played a game like this in a while. And even the fact that like I didn't dismiss it immediately is kind of refreshing for me, because I don't often go in for these kind of like mech combat-y games. But I do like it. I'm a little bit worried that the full release, it's going to do one of those like JRPG things where it's like 600 hours long, because the first 3 missions that I played in the demo are pretty fucking repetitive. Like it's kind of like, here's your city battle arena, defeat these clusters of enemies, maybe there's a boss, defeat it, and then it's kind of like get your kit, you know, kit yourself out, do it all over again. So I mean, hopefully they'll keep like the environments kind of varied, or you'll have enough stuff to put on your mech to make it feel different, or really kit it out in different ways to kind of like adjust the balance on it in every level, so it doesn't feel like you're doing the same level over and over again. I mean, I'm sure they've thought all this stuff through. This game doesn't seem like you know, like a little indie quick release. It seems like it's really well thought out, but I'm lukewarm on it for now.
Well, that's better than I thought you were going to be. I thought you were going to hate this game. I was fully prepared for you to not like it at all. And I've seen a lot of people kind of have a similar. You were the first person to mention Zone of the Enders, and I really like Zone of the Enders too. But for me, that's a very different thing than what Armored Core was going for. But a lot of people that I talked to on Twitter were like, it was so slow, and I like my mechs to be fast and zippy. And that's totally cool. That's just like a different flavor of mech. I mean, there is that school of mech design where they're just like super fast and these elegant like death machines. But then there's also a different school of mech design where it's like, kind of tank-like, slower, more lumbering. And I think this definitely falls on that side, even though you can fly infinitely, which I think is a great choice. But it's definitely more about, I think ultimately, if my guess is true, it's gonna really come down to the build. And it's interesting that they didn't really show that in the demo, because it would have been very easy to complete the demo without ever picking up another part, because you have to kind of pay attention. And once you notice like an enemy mech goes down, you can go and salvage one of their parts from there. I'm not sure if the store was active. I don't know if that was true or not, but it would have been very easy to get through the whole demo without ever knowing you could really pick up those parts and change things around. They didn't really give you much to play with. You were correct in that aspect. So I think they should have unlocked like way more parts, so you could be like, oh, I can change my head and that changes my radar, or I can change this gun and this gun feels totally different than this other gun, or like they don't give you very much. So I think if you're looking for like zippy, fast, like Robotech, Zone of the Enders sort of a thing, I really doubt that's what this game is going to be. I think it's going to be more about, I'm spending 20 minutes tinkering with the parts, and I'm changing the generator, and I'm tweaking the energy output, and then I'm going to put these legs on, and these legs will be 2% more efficient than these other legs, and then the speed goes up. Like, I think that's what this game is going to really boil down to, and I suspect that it will be kind of like, the missions will all kind of be vaguely the same, but there will be boss missions, and maybe they'll change up the environments and stuff. But I think it's going to be more about increasing the mech rather than taking the mech on an adventure, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sort of like makes me think of like Need for Speed Underground, where half the appeal is like making your car look as fucking cool as possible and kitting it out, and then like the rest are kind of an afterthought.
I mean, kind of, yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of the thing is like, if my guess is correct, I think it's going to be all about where, the combat's fine and you zip around and it's okay. But really it's about, oh, look, I got this sword to work with this backpack, and then this backpack feeds this gun, and then this thing goes to the thing, and then my mech is like better than it's ever been. I think that's really what they're going after. And for me, that's cool, because I do like that. That's not for everybody. And people who want like lasers shooting all over and Robotech missile clusters and like, flying in the sky and contrails and stuff are probably going to be disappointed, because I don't think that's what this game is going for intentionally. But I do like what it's going for. It is definitely my shit, and it's been a long time since I played one of these that was good. It seems like they've taken some lessons from Armored Core and improved on them, so I'm definitely looking forward to like an improved Armored Core experience. I'm going to buy this like day one, and if I get more of what I saw in the demo, I think I will be pretty happy with that. Definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea, though. That is for sure.
Do you happen to know when this is coming out?
I do not, but I do know that I just got an email from Nintendo. It was a survey about this game. Did you get that email?
Ooh, not yet.
They were asking what I thought. I mean, it wasn't to me personally, Brad Galloway, editor of Game Critics. It was just like a general, like a blast email. But they were like, oh, what did you think of the design? What did you think of the weapons? What did you think of the speed? And they were asking all these different questions. So this game is, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably at least 6 months away. Like they wouldn't be asking these things unless they thought they were going to be able to do something about them. So I suspect that they may tweak it some more. Maybe the final product will be maybe more more action based or faster. Who knows? One thing that I did think was interesting, you were talking about the Pro Controller. I mean, I have the Pro Controller also, and I was thinking maybe I could set it up at home and play on the TV. It would be better to control than with the Joy-Con sticks. But one thing that I thought was really interesting was at least one or two of the weapons were auto weapons. So like all you had to do was kind of generally be in the vicinity of an enemy, and the gun would like aim and fire itself. Did you have one of those weapons?
I did not have one of those weapons. That's rude.
I thought that was pretty cool, because that was a great way to mitigate how loose and hard to use the Joy-Con sticks are. Like, anybody who's played a shooter on handheld mode on the Switch knows that they're fucking balls, dude. Like, playing Fortnite on the Switch in handheld is dumb. Like, it's so hard to hit people. Anything that requires precision is awful. Like, moving up, down, left, right is fine, but anything more than that is garbage. So I thought it was really cool that they had some weapons where it was like, if you were even just kind of like facing an enemy, like that gun would aim for you. And I thought that was nice. You could choose to not use it, but if you did want to use it to kind of compensate for how shitty the sticks are, good choice. Very good choice, because I would definitely equip something like that on the go. And then when I came home and I had a controller that actually worked properly, then I would maybe go back to something that actually required some skill. So that was a cool little feature that I really liked a lot. A little thinking outside the box there. So that was kind of neat. But I'm down. I'm down for this, dude. Hopefully they'll tweak it and they'll get it in good shape. And I'm fucking up for this, dude. I am up.
Well, good. This is definitely not the last time we'll be talking about this game on the show. Then I look forward to it coming out and us revisiting it.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. We've got one more game to talk about, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. It's going to be the game we talk about all year long. 2019 is the year of Resident Evil 2. I have some stuff to say, but Corey, you take the lead on this one. I think I know what you're going to talk about, but I will let you have the reins. We know you've been inside and out, up and down, back and forth through Resident Evil 2. You finished it a bajillion times. What could you possibly have to talk about with Resident Evil now? Tell us, sir, what's on your mind?
So you would think that Resident Evil 2 would be like a fucking games as service game with the amount of time. This is literally like, it's been out for like a month and we've already talked about it like 5 times on the show. And I guarantee you, we're going to do a spoiler section like way, like, you know, in a few shows whenever you finish everything and you feel satisfied. But it's just the game that keeps on giving. I'm on my 6th playthrough, if you can believe it, about halfway through my 6th playthrough.
Jesus, I can't even finish it once, dude. I can't even finish it once.
But what I want to talk about is, so Capcom kind of pulled a fast one, and I mean this in a good way, and I think it was on like the 12th or 13th, so just about a week or so ago. Basically, they were like, hey, we're going to release some free DLC for this game. Surprise. And so the day after Valentine's Day, I guess that would have been Friday, they released a new, it's not really like a game mode, but it's called the Ghost Survivors. So in Resident Evil 2, you have the main campaign, which is, you know, however, it can be, I mean, depending on how quickly you can beat it, it can be like an hour and a half long, or it can be like 10 hours long. And then after you beat scenarios A and B, you get the 4th survivor, which is the Hunk playthrough. And then if you do that well enough, you get the Tofu version. This is all similar to the 1998 version on PlayStation 1. But like the Hunk version or playthrough is kind of like a quick, like, you don't save, it's not a campaign, it's just kind of like a speed run through like a slice of the game. It's pretty difficult. You don't get any pickups, you don't get any items. It's all about sort of like kind of like dodging enemies and shooting them to stun them and get around them because you don't have enough ammo to kill everything. I played the 4th Survivor mission once, and I didn't really like it because it's a little too action-focused and a little too, I don't want to say unfair, but it's the kind of thing that you need to play it a few times to really learn, like, where all the enemies pop up, where, you know, like, what's the best place to shoot, you know, if you shoot a zombie's legs, or if there's, you know, 8 zombies that get up off the ground in this one room, then, you know, you shoot 3 of their legs, or it's just like there's a lot that you have to know going into it. But Capcom released a similar kind of version of it called the Ghost Survivors, and it's actually 4, spoiler alert, but it starts as 3 different scenarios that sort of reimagine, they say, different scenarios of Resident Evil 2 where you play as characters other than Leon and Claire. So there is a scenario where you play as Robert Kendo, who is the Kendo gun shop owner, who was in the 1998 version, and he's also in the 2019 version.
Is he the guy that had the daughter that you meet for like a second during Leon's campaign?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, all right.
Yes, so there's a scenario where you play as him. There's a scenario where you play as the mayor's daughter, who is famously sort of like deceased when you come upon her in the game in relation to the chief of police. And then there's a scenario where you play as, it's basically just like another version of Hunk. It's kind of like another sort of like special ops agent, probably the same skin as Hunk, basically. And in these game modes, they don't take very long to complete, maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. And each of them are different difficulties. Like the mayor's daughter one is like a 2 out of 5 star difficulty. The Robert Kendo one is 3. And then the Spec Ops dude is 4, and you have 2 different game modes when you play them. You have the training mode, and you have like the actual mode, and the training mode is the only ones I played them in because I'm too much of a chicken shit to play them in the actual mode because I know they're going to be hard, and I don't want them to be that hard. But the training mode, I think the enemies are weaker, you get more bullets, you have more inventory slots, and you basically, it's just like a one-run scenario through a slice of the game that's a little more action focused, where you start with a predetermined amount of items and it's the same every time, and then as you go through, you can either, you can kill as much as you want, or you can try to dodge as much as you want, or get away from enemies as much as you want. And certain enemies have backpacks, and if you kill those enemies, then you can pick up items out of the backpack. you can pick up everything out of the backpack, and then every once in a while you run into a vending machine, and when you get to the vending machine, there's 3 things in it, but you can only choose one of the 3 things to take, and I think the 3 things are the same in the same vending machines every single time. So it's kind of like an arcade, slightly action-focused version of all 3 of these scenarios, and then once you... Because I thought there was only the 3 scenarios, so I played one of them, and, like, I like Resident Evil 2 a lot. I mean, obviously, I'm on my 6th playthrough, so we could say that I am currently shopping for an engagement ring for it, but I'm not super duper up for this kind of, like, one-run action-focused thing. Like, if they brought the Mercenaries mode to Resident Evil 2, I think I might be really into that, but I'm not so much into this, like, predetermined map area, one run, no saving, little items to pick up, lots of enemies to an almost unfair amount. But one thing that is satisfying about this is that I played all 3 scenarios in the training mode, and I beat all 3 of them. And once you beat all 3 of them, you unlock a 4th scenario that is actually, in my opinion, the best out of all 4 of them, because it takes place at the very, very, very beginning of Resident Evil 2, no matter which... It's in Scenario A, but no matter which character you play as, you're in this little convenience store at the very beginning of the game. It's like a gas station, basically. The 4th Ghost Survivor, you play as, like, a sheriff that's at the convenience store. And it's kind of like a wave shooter. Like, you're in the convenience store, there's 3 doors, and there's zombies outside of all 3 doors. And kind of, like, one at a time, zombies will kind of, like, break through the door, and, like 2 or 3 will come out at a time. You start with the pistol that has unlimited ammo, which is incredible, because it's like the only time in the game you get unlimited ammo in one of these action-focused missions. And so you have unlimited ammo with the pistol, and both in the training mode and the real mode you have unlimited ammo, which I think is great. And in the training mode, the objective is to kill 70 zombies, and the actual, like, non-training mode, you have to kill 100. And so basically it's kind of like a wave shooter in this, like, really tiny convenience store, and it's, like, really hectic, because the convenience store is very small. It's like 3 small aisles of items to buy, or like items on display. And then it's you like running around in circles trying to kill the zombies. And there are other enemies, like no lickers pop up, but there are other kind of special enemies that pop up. And something that I left out earlier is that in all 3 of the game modes prior to this, with the Spec Ops dude, with the Mayor's Daughter, and with Robert Kendo, each of those modes has an enemy that is specific to that game mode that is not in the campaign. So in Robert Kendo's, there are zombies that have, like, poison in them, and when you kill them, they release this, like, cloud of poison, so you have to kill them from, like, not far away, but kind of far away, and if they bite you, then they poison you. And in the Mayor's Daughter ones, there's enemies that basically kind of keep regenerating unless you, like, shoot them in the head with a really powerful weapon. Like, if you down them, they just kind of keep getting back up and regenerating, kind of like the enemies in Resident Evil 4 that do the same thing, like, late in the game. And in the Spec Ops mission, there's basically just zombies that have, like, a lot of body armor on, and they only have, like, 1 weak point available, so it's kind of hard to kill them. And all 3 of those enemies pop up in the convenience store sort of wave shooter thing. But I really like the wave shooter one. There are zombies every once in a while that have, like, flamethrower backpacks on, so if you shoot them, they blow up, and they kill a lot of enemies around them. The backpack zombies do show up, and they drop weapons for you that you can pick up. But they're, like, one-time use weapons, so you don't pick up ammo for them. Like, one backpack might have a shotgun with, like, 5 shotgun shells in it, but you'll never find more shotgun shells, so you just kind of blow through it and then discard it whenever you're done with it. So I think it's a pretty cool game mode, and I'm a little sad that they make you beat the first 3 to unlock the 4th one, because I think the 4th one is the best one. But long story short, like, if you're kind of up for this sort of, like, more, like, arcade focused, sort of one run action, like, no saving, no continuing kind of thing, then this is just going to be, like, more up your alley for this kind of game modes. Unfortunately, this isn't, like, super what I'm in for. I would rather play, like, a more sustained, like, campaign DLC or, like, a Mercenaries type thing, like that was in Resident Evil, like, 4, 5, and 6, but I do really like the wave shooter one that's in the convenience store, so that's kind of like the saving grace of this DLC. But it is free, even if you don't have the deluxe edition. It's still free. You don't have to pay for it or anything. I think they just literally patched it into the game as extra modes. So I think that was a nice little surprise. Even if I don't love all of it, it's always nice to get more of something, even if it's for free. That makes it even better. But I tried all of them. I like the wave shooter one. The rest of them are just okay.
Those sound great. I am up for that. I am up for short. I am up for like one run. I am up for that. Those sound wonderful. I saw that the DLC came out, and I updated my Resident Evil 2, so I have them ready. Like they're in the menu, and I can access them whenever. But I'm not going to get to them until after I do the other stuff first. As I mentioned in the banter, and as I've mentioned on the show before, I'm like super busy. Like February is ridiculous busy for me. In any other month, I'm sure I would have already finished the game and moved on. But it's just taken me forever to find the time to sit down and play this. So I'm chipping through it slowly but surely. But those sound great. And I seem to recall, I don't think this is the first time Capcom's done this. I think they've done this with other Resident Evils. I am not the Resident Evil expert. We'll have to consult. Maybe you know, or maybe someone else knows. But I feel like they've done this sort of thing before. So that's cool. I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to those. And being the busy guy that I am, kind of a low commitment sort of a thing is really great because, I don't know. I just like the idea of a little bit more, a little bite-sized more. You get through it, you're done, you feel good about it, and then you just kind of move on. So that's kind of the space that I'm in right now, but I definitely hear that you would like something a little more substantial. I suspect that more stuff is on the way. Resident Evil 2 sold great. It's doing gangbusters for Capcom, and they have definitely figured out how to keep a game going for a while between Resident Evil 7. I mean, they had shitloads of DLC for that came out every so often. Monster Hunter has like DLC like every couple of weeks or whatever it is. Capcom is definitely not quite to the game as a service, but they're definitely to extending their games. I wouldn't be surprised to see something more substantial come. Quick update from me. I finished Leon A's run a couple days ago, and then I jumped into Claire B. A little bit disappointing because I really feel like after all this time, they should have made these scenarios interlock better. I've heard some people say that most people don't even finish their games at all these days, and so they kind of want Leon, or like whatever, whether it's Leon or Claire, but they want the A run to kind of be the quote-unquote, the full experience, basically. You're not going to get everything, but it'll be enough to where you walk away from the game and feel like, yeah, I played that game, I got a good experience out of the game, I'm done. And if you don't come back for the B scenario, they want you to feel okay with what you got, because most people are probably not going to come back. Maybe Resident Evil fans are more tenacious than most, but, if you look at statistics for, video games as a whole, 60% of people never finish a game that they buy, so why would they put that much work into a B run? But for me and you, and for other Resident Evil fans who probably were going to finish both anyway, it is a little disappointing to find that they just don't really sync up that well. Like, I'm starting Claire's, some of the items are in different places, which I guess is okay, but it's like, if Leon did something in A, I want it to be that way in B, so that if I remember what I did in A, then those things are true. Like in the opening hall, when Leon opens that metal shutter, it should still be open, or it should still be closed, or whatever. It's like, there was Claire comes along and she has to open the shutter again, and it's like, well, Leon opened it. Like, why is she opening it? Other things like that. Like, you pick up this item that Leon clearly got, and it's still there again for Claire to pick up. Kind of disappointing. I also have to say that I am fucking sick of Mr. X. I'm so sick of him, dude. I'm at this point in the game where I need to get an item from the 3rd floor of the police station, and I know exactly where it is, but he will not leave me alone long enough to fucking get it. Like, every time I go up there, he's on me, and I'm walking, I'm not running, and I'm not making a bunch of noise, but for whatever reason, he's just hanging out in that section of the mansion, or the police station. And I can't get the fucking item because he fucking comes after me, and then I gotta leave, and then I hope he goes to another part of the station, but he doesn't. He comes back to the same place, and I'm just getting really kind of annoyed and frustrated with him. So I wish he would just fuck off for like half an hour and let me get my shit done so I can move on with the rest of the game. And I kind of wish it overlapped better, but whatever. I'm kind of considering the B run as kind of like a alternate run, not necessarily that it makes sense that they match up, even though the game kind of wants you to think that they do. So if I think of it as just like a second attempt at the game rather than something that is part of a whole, then it kind of is less annoying that it doesn't match up, I guess. But to be honest with you, though, dude, I don't even really want to go through Claire B. I kind of don't care. What I really want to get to is the Hunk scenario. I know that you were not a big fan of that, but I'm really up for that. Like, I played it in the original Resident Evil 2. I finished it. I liked it. I want to do it again. I like Hunk. He's probably one of my favorite characters in the franchise. He doesn't get a lot of screen time. He's kind of like the Boba Fett of Resident Evil, where he just kind of shows up, kind of looks badass for like 5 seconds and then goes away, but he's got that like mystique about him. So I kind of want to just like play him, and I want to hurry up and get to that. So I'm kind of just like, whatever, Claire, just get your shit done because I've already done this, and it's not really super interesting to play it again, even if with stuff being remixed and all that, like doing all the same puzzles and all that stuff. It's kind of dumb. But I'm just going to get through it as quick as I can, get to the hunk stuff. I don't know if I'll finish it, but I would like to get to the tofu stuff because I did that stuff back in the day. I would like to do that again, and I'm definitely up for the DLC. So hopefully soon. I put in some time today because today's my one day off, but I don't know how much I'm going to get in the rest of the week. It may take me like 6 months to finish this game, dude. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've got it probably like 1.5 scenarios down in like a month, so I think you're doing okay.
Well, oh man, that's makes me sad to hear that. But yeah, it's taking me forever and a day to get this done. So we'll do the spoiler section when it's done. But that's kind of where I'm at, and I will report back when I finish it and move on to the rest of the stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about it again if there's more DLC. I'm sure there will be more DLC. But that's all I have to report. Any thoughts, questions for me, or should we move on and wrap up the show?
I don't think so. We're like have talked Resident Evil to death. We're going to talk it to death even more. So. We're going to talk it to death so much that perhaps it might rise from the dead and come back over and over again and then regenerate itself, and we're going to talk it to death again, only after we shoot it in the head approximately like 17 times, because that's how the game works.
Exactly.
So,
minimum 6 bullets for every zombie, folks.
Yeah, there's something that I find incredibly strange, because I have the unlimited pistol in the scenarios now, is that like there are times where I will shoot a zombie like in the head, like I'll shoot it in the head like 3 times or however many times, and then it'll go down, and there's like a period where it'll get back up, you know, if you like walk by it, or if you like, I don't know, if you like attack it again or something. But sometimes just for like good measure, because I have unlimited bullets, once it goes down the first time, I will just shoot it in the head while it's down, like over and over and over and over again. And I think there's like a period where once it goes down, it like doesn't take damage until it's like ready to get back up again. And so I will end up shooting a zombie in the head like probably like 25 times, and like it'll finally die. And it's like the most absurd thing. And I just have to tell myself that it's got to be like after it goes down and it's in like its stun state for a minute, like maybe those like shots don't count or something. It's just so weird. But I remember the first time I came to the show, I was like, oh yeah, I think they take a few shots, but I'm okay with it. Like, it's fine. But now that I've been playing with unlimited bullets, and I really see like how many shots they could take in the head before they die, it is like kind of patently absurd how, like for zombies, how many shots they could take in the head before they actually die.
Yeah, I'm super not cool with how many headshots they take, and I mean, it's like I said earlier, I made this comment before, I'll make it again, but it's like, okay, so either let me kill these zombies with a reasonable amount of ammo, or if I'm not supposed to kill them all, then let me dodge them, because like, I don't think a dodge would ruin the game. I just a little bit, just to get around them, because it's stupid that you can't like quickly backpedal, that you can't just like hop to the side. Like, I mean, I'm old and overweight, dude, and I can move quickly, like more quickly than Leon and Claire can. And if I'm more nimble than these guys, that's fucking sad, all right? So, like, if I could juke these zombies, I know for a fact that Leon and Claire could. It's dumb that they can't. So I feel like they kind of made a little misstep there. Like, either let me kill them or let me dodge them, but you can't really do either. So it's kind of a weird place to be. But anyway, we'll talk about it more as we go on. I think we should probably wrap the show. We will definitely talk about this again. But I'm all talked out for the moment, and we'll circle back at some other point in the future.
Yes, that sounds like a plan.
All right, man, bring us home.
All right. Well, today we talked about Of Mice and Sand Revised, Mimic Hunter, Solstice Chronicles. We also talked about the Devil May Cry 5 demo, Daemon X Machina, and Resident Evil 2 updates. And that brings us to the end of this show. Remember, you can stick around after the ending music to hear tonight's banter. I complain about work again. Brad and I talk about TV shows as usual and other stuff. In the meantime, if you don't want to listen to that, that's totally fine. You can just skip, and we'll catch you next week for the games chat. If you want to get in touch with us, there are several ways to do that. We welcome all of your comments, thoughts, feedback, ideas. Games you want us to play, feedback on anything that we've played, or anything like that. You can get in contact with us by email. Our email address is sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter as a collective show at So Video Games on Twitter. We also post our shows on Game Critics, and every Game Critics story has a comment section underneath. So you can comment on Game Critics after the show goes live there if you wish. And last but not least, you can reach us individually on social media. Brad and I are both on Twitter and Instagram. Brad, would you like to give out your social media handles?
Yep, it's the same on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm more often on Twitter, but I also am on Instagram a little bit. You can find me there, Brad Galloway, BradGallaway, all A's, no O's.
Excellent. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. My handles are also my first and last name. We like to keep things easy for you here at the So Video Games Show. Mine is Corey Motley, CoreymOtley. And that's the end of the show. Brad, do you have any final words before we sign off?
No, that is it, but thanks again for listening to another So Video Games, folks. Always glad to have you aboard, and don't forget, we do love to hear from you. We do read all your comments. We do get all your messages, so don't be shy. Speak up, let us know what you think, what you want us to talk about, and just reach out and get in touch.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better myself. But that is the end of episode 119. Stay tuned, and we will be back for episode 120 next week. But until then, this is bye from Corey.
And bye from Brad. We'll see you next time.
Gonna do banter and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, I guess, yeah. I always do that. I do this false start now. I don't know why I do it now. We didn't used to do that now.
It makes me wonder if I just took off and started the show, if we did the whole thing, and if you would like remember at some point that we hadn't just like shot the shit for a while, or if you would just go for it and be over with, and then we would hang up and it would just be the show.
I mean, that very well may happen someday. You may trick me one of these days and we'll get like a super like impromptu show. I don't know, man. Anyway, so we're here. It's Monday. It doesn't feel like Monday to me because I've been like working like crazy. But how are you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Today is kind of so. There's like you haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, have you?
Have not. No.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's like one specific moment in the movie where Ryan Gosling has like kind of like a rough day at work, you could say, and then he gets home and he has like this kind of like holographic like woman that's kind of like his like she's kind of like his girlfriend, kind of like his maid, like at the house or his like apartment or whatever. And there's like one specific scene where he like gets home from this like really rough day and he like sits down at his table and she like her like holographic thing like comes out, or like a hologram, I guess is what I'm trying to say here, and she like materializes and she like crouches down in front of him and she says something like what a day, huh? And like every time I have a day where I think it feels terrible, I just like need to like get like a recording of her or like a video on my phone so I can just watch her be like, what a day, huh? Because that's like how all of my days have felt lately. Like I just need some like hologram, like sexy lady to crouch down in front of me and be like, wow, what a day it's been, because it has always been a day.
I mean, sexy lady or sexy dude? Or does it matter?
I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm not like looking for anything. I just need someone to like I just need someone to be like, wow, it's been a rough day, hasn't it? But in like a nice way, you know?
So it could even be like a cat or a dog or something. Just that if they talked, it would just be like, you know, rough, what a day, huh? Or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I need.
Sometimes that little bit of sympathy or that little bit of understanding can really make a big difference. I hear ya 100%. You gave us kind of an update on your shenanigans at the campus last time. Have you been like writing up more people like crazy, or the kids going crazy on campus? What's going on?
Well, today, luckily, like nothing insane has happened recently, but today was just like one of those days where like Monday is like obviously my busiest day at work because I'm not working over the weekends, but like the reports keep piling up over the weekends. So Mondays I have to like, I usually stay late on Mondays so I can like make up for the reports that I, obviously didn't get to on like Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And so like any given Monday when I walk into work, I'm already like overburdened with stuff to do, which, is fine because it's like I expected and whatever. And so today I get to work and and like my boss sends me an email, and he's like, it's basically like a forwarded email from another, it's not another department, but it's just kind of like another division on campus, and they need a bunch of like data, because one of the like the subsets of my job that I probably haven't really talked about much is, so like obviously I read reports, I build the cases and that kind of stuff, but something else I do is I do a lot of like the system that we use for our cases. I do a lot of like system management for it, and I create user accounts, I delete user accounts, I merge cases together, I take one case and try to make it two separate cases, I get data. There's like a million different like analytic reports you can run, and so I like run a lot of analytics if we need to, and I'm still learning a lot of that because analytics isn't like a daily thing. So he forwards me this email, and basically like on a Monday, like partway into my day, it wasn't even like waiting for me whenever I got there, he like forwards me this email from somebody else on campus, and it's basically like, and like I'm not joking when I say this, it's basically like, hey, I need you to get like 9 years worth of this kind of data from like our campus, from this like certain kind of thing. And I'm like, and I didn't even check the email because I was like waist deep in building cases. And then one of my coworkers who also like runs analytics, she comes over and she looks at me and she's like, hey, are you working on that stuff? And I was like, no. And to be completely honest with you, I have not even read the email. So I like open the email, and it's like a shitload of information that like this person on campus is asking for. And it's just like one of those things where like I have like a primary job to do at work, and this kind of stuff is secondary, but it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like it can come up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's like the highest priority thing for me to do that day. And like my boss and my boss's boss like don't fully understand how like time consuming it is to get this kind of data. So like my coworker and I basically like replied to his email, and we were like, hey, yeah, like we can do this, but like just a heads up, it's going to take like maybe like days for us to get this information. And like that's with setting all of our current duties aside, so therefore getting more behind on the work we're supposed to be doing. It's our daily task. And so basically that's what we did today. I spent like more than half, I stayed like 2.5 hours late, and I spent like more than half my day like trying to like, even because you have to like figure out how you want to get the reports, and then you have to like get them and then export them and then sort them. And then in this case, it's not just like a, you know, like a copy and paste like Excel stuff into another table and send it. This is like a thing where like literally every single case that we're looking at, and we're looking at about 180 cases. Yeah, we have to go into every single case individually and like look for stuff in the cases in the system. So it like turned into this like whole big thing. And of course, like the woman who wants the stuff has like zero familiarity with the system that we work in. And so she probably thinks it's something we can just spend 5 minutes and like export a spreadsheet and send to her. And then, you know, when my coworker asked her like what the urgency was on it, it's the kind of thing where she like, you know, it's like, oh, well, this is so urgent that I basically needed it yesterday. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, thanks for the heads up. And like, and by that, I mean no heads up at all. And it's just like, I have like a primary job to do at work. And it seems like whenever I get assignments like this, which I mean, it's fine because as we covered last week, my number one work trait is adaptability after all. Like, it's like no one seems to care that I'm getting behind on like the primary work I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like every time I get like a secondary assignment like this, my boss, you know, kind of like softly reassures me that someone will like help out on the primary work I'm supposed to do, and then no one ever helps out. So all I do is get more behind. And you know, I've come to expect it. So like after working there for like a year, like this is, I'm like, anytime he's like, oh yeah, you know, we'll have someone help you while you're doing this other thing, I know in my heart that nobody's going to help me. And so like, I'm just waiting for the day whenever this blows up and somebody, you know, comes into my office and is like, hey, why are you like 50 cases behind on opening them? And I'm going to be like, well, let me give you the checklist of reasons why. Because like, I'm not the kind of worker that whenever somebody gives me a secondary task, I'm not going to like go to my boss's boss and be like, oh, this is how far behind. I'm just going to like shut up and do the work. Like, I don't want to like make a big deal about getting behind. But as soon as somebody comes to me and asks me, which probably will never happen, you know, I obviously can give them like a bunch of reasons why, but it's just like that kind of stuff. Like it's like slight disregard for like my daily work. So that way I can do like really like kind of time consuming work on a deadline, and it's kind of stressful. And so like we spent most of our day doing that today, and I'm going to spend probably most of my day tomorrow doing it too, and getting even more behind on my primary work. So it's just that kind of stuff that I've been dealing with today.
That sounds like a lot. It sounds like what my wife kind of deals with. I mean, not me particularly, because my job doesn't really swing that way. I'll tell you about my job in a second. But yeah, she's often in charge of, like, you know, like these reports where somebody needs something, and then they think it's like you just push like a button, and then like it just pops out, right? Like, oh, here's the report button. Hit the report button, and then here's your report. So it sounds a lot like what she's going through. But I mean, so are you, even after telling all those people that you have this like thing that's going to take you days and days, where they just like go ahead and do it and just put all that other shit to the side? Then is that what you're still doing?
I mean, kind of. I mean, it was sort of like, hey, you know, we can basically, like, you can take like 2 days to get this, so kind of like split your work like half and half over these 2 days. And other people might help out on your primary job, and then, you know, nobody is obviously helping out on my primary job. So I don't know. We'll just see how it goes for the rest of the week.
That sounds pretty rough, and I'm glad I'm not you, because that sounds crazy. I have never been that good at office stuff or reports or paperwork and stuff. So some people got it, some people don't. I don't, but we do need people like you to do it. So I'm glad you're there where you are. Me, on the other hand, man, I am falling apart at the seams, dude. I am tired. I am so tired. Still working on Romeo and Juliet, and it's pretty common. I don't know if people know this or not. I don't know if I've even mentioned it before, but when you're in the theater, you work 6 days a week, just period. Like, it's not up for discussion. Everybody does. It's expected. It's the norm. And so whenever I take on one of these, it's always like, okay, I got to get back in the zone again. And it's just, I mean, it's rough, you know. I mean, you work a lot when you're on a project, but then you can, you know, if you're not going from show to show to show, I mean, you could go a fairly long time between jobs. And so, like, when you work really intensely, and then you may, you know, not be on another show for another couple months or something. I mean, for me, it's pretty rare. Like, for me, what I do, working as an interpreter in the capacity that I do, it's pretty rare that I get opportunities like this. So if I do like one a year is like, that's lucky. 2 a year is pretty unheard of. So usually it's about 1 a year. So I can go a pretty long time without getting back on the schedule. But I am balls deep in this schedule right now. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, it's fun. I really enjoy the work. I'm working with awesome people. The people down at Act Theater in downtown Seattle are amazing. Like, the director's amazing. Everybody's amazing. Like, it's just like awesome people to work with. Everybody's super positive, super professional. Like, it's an awesome environment. I love doing it. It's a really fun job too. But just doing anything for like all day, 6 days a week is just really fucking exhausting. And today is our 1 day off, and so, you know, my wife is prepping a bunch of food, we're doing a bunch of laundry, we had to go grocery shopping, that took some time, I got a bunch of paperwork to do, I'm trying to cram like everything in on my quote unquote day off, and, you know, I'm not really doing a lot of off on the day off, but I mean, and that's kind of reflected too, like, I mean, I don't know if people who listen to this podcast also go to game critics, but like the flow of new content has kind of really slowed down at the website, because I come home, dude, and I just, like, I sit on the couch and I'm like, okay, no, I'm really tired, but like, I'm going to catch a quick nap. I'll be powered up when I wake up. I'll get the stuff done at nighttime. No big deal. Get it going. And then I lay down on the couch. I take the nap, fall asleep in like 5 seconds, wake up, and then I just can't wake up. Like, my body's like, nope, you're in shutdown mode. We're here for the next 8 hours, buddy, and you're not going anywhere. And I'm like, fuck, I cannot wake up. I mean, the other night I was like, no, I got to get some stuff done. I'm so far behind. And I woke up. The rest of the family's in bed, and I'm like, okay, I gotta gotta get up, wake up. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna make some coffee. It's like midnight. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna make some coffee, wake up a little bit. Yeah, I drank like a whole cup of coffee. No effect. Zero effect. I was like just as tired. So I haven't been doing like much of anything, dude. I just been like just dealing with that. But it's been good times other than the exhaustion and like the long hours. I mean, the play is like looking amazing, and we're only like halfway through rehearsals right now. So I strongly encourage anybody who's in the Pacific Northwest area, or anybody who might be inclined to come out here for this play. It's going to be like genuinely unlike any other production of Romeo and Juliet anyone has ever seen. I mean, the set looks amazing. The changes to the script are amazing. I mean, the casting is amazing. So it's going to be like a really, really cool production. So it's good. I feel very fortunate to be part of it. And as much, I mean, as grueling as it is and as much hard work as it is, like, getting an opportunity to do it is like really, really rare. And I've had a couple opportunities recently, so I feel really lucky. So even though it's hard work and long hours, and to be perfectly honest, the pay is not great, but just working on it is a real privilege. So I feel really lucky to be there. So Cannot wait. Cannot wait. The cool thing too is that they're really putting a lot of money into advertising, and so like when I ride the bus to work or like when we're driving around, like I see billboards for it like all over Seattle, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm working on that. That's so cool. Like this is my thing that I'm doing. So it's pretty neat feeling.
We talked about last week and maybe even the week before that you, because of all the ridiculous snow in Seattle, that you were worried that you guys were going to get behind. How did all that end up shaking out for rehearsals?
Oh, we got behind. We got real behind. I mean, we were so behind. The director was like, okay, so look, if you guys don't want to go home because you're afraid you're not going to go back, he's like, we'll just pay for hotel rooms for all of you in downtown Seattle because I don't want any of you to not be here because we need to get this done. So like they put up, I think, like probably half the cast. They just paid for rooms. And, you know, they have relationships with like hotels in the area. It's something that they do very often for when people come to, actors from out of town come in, they put them up as part of the deal of being an actor in a city that you don't live in. But I mean, it was like, whoa, that must have been like a bunch of money for them to lay out to house all these people for a couple days and to, you know, just keep them close by to keep this production going. So yeah, we did get behind. It was really frazzled. That week when the snowpocalypse hit Seattle, that was shit. It was awful. I mean, everything was off. City was closed for a couple days. And I mean, I think we've been making up the time, and I think it's coming along. The director's amazing. And everybody's really putting in like 110%, so it's great. But yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we had like one more week just to make up for the snow week we lost. But, you know, we're going to do what we're going to do, and I still think it's going to be great. So yeah, we're definitely putting the hours though, man. That's for sure.
That's good. But there's, I mean, you've kind of been talking about this already, but there's definitely something to be said for like being in a large group of people all working toward the same goal and everybody like wanting to be there and really putting in the effort, because it sucks whenever like you're in a group of people working and you can tell that like a quarter of the people don't want to be there, or some of the people are only doing it for the money and they don't really care about what's going on. But it sounds like you guys have like a good group, and I'm sure everybody probably worked really hard to get there, so nobody takes any of the positions for granted for what they're doing for the production, I bet.
Totally. I mean, that's kind of the thing is like when you get to do one of these things, it's like you're only there if you're great at what you do and if you really want to be there. Like there's like so many people who want to do these slots, like in terms of what I'm doing, in terms of the support staff, in terms of the director staff, in terms of the people who work for the theater itself, in terms of the actors. It's like you don't just like stumble into one of these slots. Like it's like super limited. You know, like you got to really fucking work for it. And everybody that's there totally has like, is either like a super seasoned veteran or somebody who is really hungry coming up the ranks and they're really like working hard for it. So when you get in that room, like everybody's fucking paying attention. Everybody's ready to go. Everybody's giving 110%. Everybody's fucking serious. Like there's no fucking around. Like it's just like we're all about, I mean, in a good way. Like it's not harsh or anything. Like it's not, you know, no one's mean. No one's yelling at each other. It's not like you see those, you know, like you see those directors on TV where they're like, they're yelling at people and they're just like being a tyrant on the set. Like totally not like that at all. Like the director's awesome. He's like super soft spoken and real nice. And, you know, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar or whatever that saying goes. But yeah, like everybody in the room is like all about it. And like everybody's super focused and they're doing it. And to be in an environment like that is pretty cool because I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't been in very many environments where I've been in a room with so many people who were so invested in what they were doing. Like, I think the theater for me is really where people are the most invested that I've seen anyway. So it's cool to be in that environment because, like, there's just, it kind of lifts you up. Like, you know, like everybody, like you see everybody trying their best and being like all about it. And it just makes you want to do even better because everybody else is working so hard. So it's really awesome to be in an environment like that. It's too bad that like that isn't true of like every job you ever have. I mean, it would be impossible, right? Because you can't get that excited about like slicing bagels or delivering newspapers or something. But like when you do get those opportunities, it's pretty amazing. So I really enjoyed it. And it really does make up for the long hours or getting stuck on the bus or like, the pay that could be better or whatever. I mean, the trade-off is like you get to be in this one position that's really unique and it's a unique environment on top of just being a unique situation. And it's like a temporary thing too. It's just like, it's really ephemeral, it's there for 2 months and then it's gone forever. And so it's kind of a weird special thing that's really nice to be a part of. So I enjoy it. It's definitely good stuff.
Yeah, that makes me think back to whenever I maybe have brought this up on the show before, but whenever I was in college and in high school for that matter, but mostly in college, I was on the drum line in college for 3 of my 4 years of going to the University of Missouri. And that's kind of how it was too, because like, you had to audition to be on the drum line and everybody, like people, like flew, there was like a weekend where everybody auditioned and people flew in from like across the country, to audition. And so like it was very rare that you would get like bad apples or people who like, you know, every once in a while we'd get somebody who was kind of lazy or somebody who only did marching band because they like had to have it for their music major, or people who like came from high schools who like thought they were hot shit and they were like too good for the drum line. But it was pretty rare that that happened. And so there was definitely like a big sense of camaraderie at the end of the day where like, you know, we had all auditioned our asses off to be there. We all practiced. I think it was, you know, 5 days a week, plus there was a football game most Saturdays. So it's kind of a similar situation to you. Like, you know, we were there mostly 6 days a week. And for football Saturdays, we were there, you know, all day and all night. We had to be there for several hours before the game even started to rehearse. And then we had like a meal break. And then, you know, we had to go down to the stadium. We had to like march down to the stadium really early, and then do the pregame show, and then go up in the stands, and you play for the entire game, and then you do the halftime show, and then you play for the rest of the game, and then, you know, you finally get to go back to, you know, like the shed and put your instruments away and everything, and then go home. And then by the time you're done, you're just too tired to do anything. Like, even if it's like a morning game and, you know, you're done halfway through the day, you're just like, fuck, man, like, I'm just ready to go to sleep, pretty much.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like, when I get home, I crash on the couch, I sit with the wife, you know, maybe we'll watch like a very, very short television show. Sometimes not even that. We just like sit there, and then I'm just like, I can't. Like, I look at these reviews I got to do, and I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't. So, but it is good though. I mean, like you said, that camaraderie of like, you know, like, yeah, maybe some people will fall upwards or something and end up there, but for the most part, and especially in this situation where I'm at, it's like you're only there because you've really worked hard to get there. And so when you look around, you see everybody's put in, you know, everybody's paid their dues, everybody's, you know, had their knocks, everybody's been in it for a while. And then when you get there, like, you're all kind of like seasoned, you know, like you're all people who are about it. Like, that's really cool. It's a cool environment to be like that. So I like that a lot. So anyway, let's change the subject here and talk about something that's not work related. I'm sure people listening to this podcast are like, fuck, I listen to podcasts to get away from work, and these guys are talking about work. So
or
I'm going to tell you.
I was going to say, maybe they listen and they're like, wow, so everybody is as miserable as I am too, and it brings them a weird sense of comfort.
Possibly. So listen to this, dude. This is like a totally unrelated. I should probably save this for the main show, but I'll use it here. So like my son's PS4. So you have a PS4, and so do you guys have two in your house or just one?
We have two, but we pretty much only use one exclusively.
Okay, so have you ever had the experience of, you turn on your PS4, this only happens with disc-based games too. So like, have you ever turned on your PS4, put in a disc, and then you hear it like rev and then stop, and then rev and then stop?
Yes.
And then, okay.
Yes.
So I've had that happen too. It happened to mine. Happened with Hitman. That took me a long time to get that situation worked out. It happened to my son too. And at first I was like, okay, so I think it was just GameFly discs, because I usually GameFly, you know, sponsored by GameFly, except we're not really sponsored by GameFly. And so I was like, you know, whatever machine they use at GameFly, it usually takes a nick out of the corner of a disc or the edge of a disc. And I thought that maybe that was what was doing it. But we got one from GameFly that was perfectly pristine. Like, we must have been the first people to ever get the disc, because it was like spotless. Like, it looked like it just rolled off the factory line. And I'm like, there's no damage to the disc. There's no scratches. Looks like there's not even a speck of dust on it. It's perfectly clean. So it can't be that. And so it just rev stop. He couldn't play it. And I'm like, I was getting frustrated because he was really looking forward to it. Just Cause 4, I think, is the one that he was waiting to play. Loves those open world games, loves those screw around games. So I'm like, fuck, okay, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to send it in. It's been a long time since I've had to send in a console for repair. I mean, the last time was probably the Xbox 360, when I sent it in like 9 times or something like that. When everybody was getting like the red ring of death back in the days, right? But like, the PS4 has been it's been a workhorse, dude. Like, it's been really solid, been pretty well put together, no complaints about it. I'm like, there's got to be a way to fix this. There's got to be something I can do. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll put it on its side. I don't like the vertical configuration. It creeps me out. I think it's just morally wrong. Like, I don't like a console on its side. It just looks gross. Do you have yours on your side or no?
I do have mine on its side.
Oh my God, you do?
I do.
That's weird. That's weird, man. How do you deal with that?
I put it on its side and let it sit there and use it just like any other PlayStation 4.
Oh my God, it creeps me out. It just seems really strange. Just like, I just can't hang with that. But we did. I tried. I'm like, I put it on its side. Didn't work. So I'm like, fuck. Okay, fine. I'm just going to Google this thing. At first, I'm like, well, how much is it going to cost to get it fixed? I'm like, but it's going to be like 6 weeks to get it back or some shit. I'm like, there's got to be some other way. So I started
Well,
Googling.
hold on. Was there like actually something wrong with it, or was it just making weird noises?
It wasn't playing. I'm sorry, I left that. I left
okay. I was like, why does he need to get it fixed? Like, if it's just making loud noises, okay. All right, so it was revving and the games weren't playing.
Yeah. I'm a terrible storyteller. I left out the most important part of the story. Please forgive me, everyone. I need to work on my storytelling skills. Yeah, it was revving and stopping, and it was like it was going as if it was going to like install the game, but then it would stop, and it would get to like 14% every time, and then it would crap out and stop, and you'd have to do it again, and it would get to 14%, and then it would stop. And I'm like, fuck, okay, he can't play this game. There's nothing wrong with the disc. It's got to be the PS4. And, turn it off, turn it back on. Some people recommended, what was it called? Like consolidating the memory or something that you can do from like the debug menu in the PS4. So I tried that. That actually worked for my PS4, but it didn't work for his. And I'm like, God damn it. So he was getting really frustrated, disappointed. And as his father and as a fellow gamer, like, I don't want to disappoint my son. It's like, Dad should make this stuff better. Like, Dad should fix this stuff. Dad, fix it. Like, I want to be that guy, right? So, like, I jump on Google and I'm looking around and I go to, like, one of the Reddit posts there's a lot of people who had the same problem. Very common problem, apparently. And these people were like, oh, yeah, it's the optical disc drive. Something about it craps out after a while. And it's weird because it'll still play the discs that you've had before it had the problem, but it will not play discs that are new after the problem. So it's so bizarre because he can put in like Titanfall 2, one of his favorite games, plays just fine. He's had that disc forever, plays just fine, no problem. But when I put in Just Cause 4, which is new, rev stop. And like there's no difference in the discs, right? So I don't know what black magic that is or whatever, but like everybody's like, so for real, bang on your PS4. I'm like, what? They're like, bang on the top of it. I'm like, shut up. And I search these other posts. They're all like, yeah, just bang on the top of it. It totally works. And I'm like, no. That can't be the solution. And I read some more posts. I go to, I check these other forums, and they're all like, yeah, just bang on it. I'm like, I feel stupid for even considering this, right? Like, this is dumb. This is like percussive force to the top of your PS4. Banging on it like a caveman is going to fix the problem with this delicate high-tech machine. Yeah, sure it is, buddy. And I'm like, okay, but I tried everything else, right? Like, I exhausted all my options. My only option left was to send it in for service, and I super didn't want to do that, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. Waited till he went to bed because I didn't want to look like a jackass in case it didn't work, right? Put in the disc, starts revving, stopping, and they're like, you have to hit it right where the disc is spinning. That's
oh my God.
And I'm like, well, where the fuck is that? And I try to listen, and I'm like, well, it kind of sounds like it's over here. Kind of sounds like it's over there. Didn't, I go for like the left side. That didn't quite work. And I try to go a little further back, bang, bang. I mean, not hard. I'm not hitting it full force or anything.
Like a sledgehammer.
No. I'm just, just a closed fist, but I'm just kind of tapping it like lightly. I didn't want to crack anything, right? So it's not working. And then I'm like, oh, God fucking damn it. And everybody on the boards was swearing that it worked. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Put in the disc again. And I just lightly tap it on the PS4 symbol that's on the top part of the case. Like if you look at the top of the case, there's like a little, little PS4 that's embedded in the plastic or whatever. And I banged it there. Son of a bitch fucking started working, dude.
Oh
totally started working. And I'm like, oh my God. Banging on the machine actually worked? That is so wrong. That is so stupid. That is so backward. That is so like sitcom. But it totally fucking worked. Put in the disc. Bang, bang, bang. Thing fucking took off. It's been working like a charm ever since. So I guess word of advice to anybody out there who gets that revving error, just like put in the disc, lightly bang on the PS4 symbol on your PS4, and that'll fix that fucker right up. Crazy.
Huh, you heard it here first. I've had that problem. I mean, I never banged on it. The only significant time I remember having that problem was whenever I gameflied God of War whenever it came out, because I remember that was the only time it had happened, but I sort of thought that it was happening because God of War is I don't know, perhaps the most graphically intensive game ever made in the history of the world. And I was like, oh my God, this game is so big and so powerful and so ridiculous that and I have a PS4 Pro. I was like, my PS4 Pro can't even handle it. So the same thing was happening. It was just revving and stopping and revving and stopping. And I thought for sure that my fucking PS4 was going to unfold into a Transformers robot and just blast through my roof and take off to the moon, because it fucking sounds like an airplane about to take off. And I don't remember what I did to get it to work. I think I just tried it so many times it eventually just works. I think I took the disc out and I like turned the PlayStation 4 all the way off. I know I unplugged all of the PlayStation 4. I think I like took some like napkins or something and like dusted off all the vents around it and like blew on the vents to make sure nothing was like stopped up or being overheated or whatever. And then I think I just plugged everything back in and it like magically worked. So I didn't have to bang on it. I mean, I guess that would work. I was going to say luckily I didn't have to, but I would have tried it probably. But yeah, mine worked just from like unplugging it, kind of dusting it off, letting it sit for a little while, and I guess like cool off, and then miraculously it worked and worked fine after that. But yeah, God of War is the only game that I can think of that kept messing up when it was installing and then finally worked later on when I let it kind of chill out for a little while.
Crazy stuff, man. I mean, I guess we should be really thankful that these fucking things even work at all, because I mean, how complicated are games, and you know, making them, and the discs and the lasers and the optics and the memory. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like magic. If you took one of these things and showed it to like somebody 100 years ago, it would literally be magic. They would have no idea what was even happening, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess we should be amazed that these things even work. But yeah, I guess just hitting something once in a while just really gets the trick done. So anyway, what else is on your agenda, man? What else you got?
Brad, you're gonna be so proud of me.
Okay.
Because I have TV to talk about this week.
Oh, shit. What?
I watched an entire season of a show between our last recording and now, and I can finally bring some TV talk to the show.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm ready. Is it something that I am familiar with? What is it?
I don't know if you're familiar with it. The show that I watched it's on Amazon Prime's like streaming network, and it was made by Prime. It's called Homecoming with Julia Roberts.
I am not familiar. Do tell.
Okay, so Julia Roberts, I mean, a.k.a. America's Sweetheart, a.k.a. Oscar winner, a.k.a., I don't know, one of the nicest, most celebrated actresses in the past, like, 30 years. She's never done TV before, and she finally did her first TV show, and it's called Homecoming. It's on Amazon Prime. One of the reasons why I watched all of it is because it's only 10 episodes, and the episodes are about 30 minutes apiece, so it's, like, easy. I watched it in 2 nights. I did, I think, 5 or 6 episodes one night, and then 5 or 6 episodes the next night, so it's pretty quick. It's by I've never watched Mr. Robot, but it's by the creator of Mr. Robot, and he directed every single episode of Homecoming, and I can't remember the guy's name, but the cinematography or the director of photography was the same person through all of Homecoming as well. So it's very consistent in its direction and its visuals. But basically the story is about Julia Roberts plays this counselor at this center called Homecoming in Florida. And basically it's sort of like this therapy center for like soldiers whenever they come back from overseas, whether they've done like 1 or 2 or 3 tours or however long, they come back from overseas. And it's like kind of experimental, and it's like kind of tied into like the Department of Defense. And they come back, and if they have like issues or like PTSD, or if they like saw some shit in the field when they were in I don't know, like overseas, it doesn't really specify like where they were. Then they kind of come back to this place. They like live there. It's kind of like living in a dorm. Like they have their own rooms. They eat in-house food. And then there's like Julia Roberts is like the therapist that works there. And then there's another guy that plays sort of like a guy who helps them like get reintegrated into society as far as like job interviews, and like they do kind of like some role play, like some silly like role play work for like interviews and stuff like that. So he's like the practical one, and Julia Roberts is the one that like kind of helps them work through their like feelings and like emotions and like stuff that happened overseas. And I don't want to say a lot about it because it kind of goes some places, but it kind of centers around her, and it does this like dual timeline thing where like part of the show is sort of like, I mean, I don't really know if it's in the past or if it's in the present, but there's like part of it where she's working at the Homecoming Center, and she's seeing all the patients, but there's one guy there specifically that it kind of like shows their interactions and their interviews more than anybody else's. And then there's another section of the show where she has like moved on from working at the Homecoming Center, and this like DOD kind of like investigator guy is kind of like trying to track her down and like ask her about what happened when she works there. So like the show is it's almost like video gamey in a way. It reminds me of the video game Second Sight, which I love, because it's got like two timelines, and the show is working to kind of like bring them together so that they meet in the middle over the entire course of the show. And so there's like, whenever like the DoD guy is like trying to interview her, like, like some shit happened, but you don't really like know what happened. And then when she's at the homecoming center and those sequences, like you can kind of tell that something is going to happen, but you don't really know. Obviously, you don't know like what's going to happen. So the show is like constantly trying to like bridge those together. And it's really good. It's kind of like got a weird, kind of like 70s-ish. Like, it takes place now. Like, it's not like an old-timey thing, but like some of the design of the homecoming center and like the typography for the shows and like some of the music, because the music is actually pulled from different scores from different movies, which apparently is something that's like never been done before. It's got kind of a weird like wood paneled kind of 70s aesthetic to it. But it's just like, it's really good, and it's like a pretty quick watch because it's only like, I guess like 5 hours long if you watch all the episodes in one go. But yeah, like I don't want to give away too much because there's like definitely like, big reveals and stuff that happen. But it's just interesting, like, and of course Julia Roberts is like incredible in it because she's incredible in everything. But it's cool to see like the dual timeline stuff kind of going and then kind of bridging together. And she's got like this boss who's supposed to be the director for the homecoming center, and he's one of those. I mean, I feel like we're kind of circling back to a discussion we had earlier, but he's like one of those bosses who he doesn't work on site at the homecoming center, so he's like calling her every 30 minutes and he's like trying to micromanage the work that she's doing there and like the kind of therapy she's doing, but he's never like on site to actually like be there and witness everything, and he's trying to be like the big bad guy behind the scenes who's like running the show, but he's never actually there, so she has to like deal with his frustrations. And then in like the other timeline, she's trying to like figure out what's going on with the DoD guy who's investigating her, and there's just a lot of stuff going on, and it gets like, I don't know, the plot definitely gets like thicker and more complex as it goes on, but I liked it. Obviously I never come to the show with TV pretty much, so, and I watched the whole thing on a whim. This wasn't even like a thing that Patrick was like, oh, do you want to sit down and watch this? I just like was home while he was working nights, and I thought, I've heard a lot about this show. I'm kind of interested. Like, worst I can do is watch a couple episodes, not like it, and bail. And I liked it, and I watched all 10 episodes, so that show gets double thumbs up from me.
Wow. Interesting. I'm not like the biggest Julia Roberts fan in the world. I don't not like her, but I just, it's not like I would go seek out her shows. If she was in something, I'd be like, okay, cool, whatever. But like, I'm kind of just like in the middle. Like, she's just somebody I know, and if she's in something, great. And if she's not, then whatever. But I mean, sounds okay. I mean, I kind of like have such limited TV time that I really want to pick things that are super in my personal genre preference. I mean, without spoiling anything, is this more of like a crime drama, or does it get like sci-fi at any point at all, or is there anything like that might hook me in? Because I'm not usually up for like reality based kind of shows like that. Basically, like, is there any hook for me in there, or is it more like a suspense crime sort of thing?
I mean, it's kind of more suspense, sort of like real life stuff, but there is a little bit of like sci-fi hook that comes in here and there. It's not like hard sci-fi with like laser guns and spaceships and shit, but there's just like some sort of like sci-fi elements every once in a while, and I don't want to say much more than that because I don't want to like give a lot away, but I don't know if it would be enough to hook you, and I don't know if the show would be like up your alley. And I mean, if you don't watch it, you're certainly not going to offend me or anything, but it's got like a little bit of like some sci-fi mystery stuff happening every once in a while, but it's mostly just like this kind of like down-to-earth kind of suspenseful mystery show. I mean, it's not so much, I wouldn't call it like a crime drama, but it's like mostly serious. It's pretty suspenseful and mysterious because you don't really know like what's going on, and the whole show is kind of about bridging the gap between the different timelines.
Right.
Yeah, it's not, one thing that I would criticize it for is that it's not particularly lighthearted. Like, there's a few moments where I laughed, but I think, I mean, obviously it's not like a comedy show, but I feel like it could have done with like lightening the mood a tiny bit here and there. But it's mostly like real life suspense mystery kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Something to note. I don't usually watch those too often, but if we are in the mood, I think those are more my wife's sort of a thing. So maybe I'll recommend it to her. Maybe she can watch it, or maybe I'll watch it with her or something like that. So, all right, cool. Excellent. Speaking of TV, I talked about The Dragon Prince a while ago. It was an animated series on Netflix. Remember me talking about it?
Not specifically.
It's about it's a Netflix specific show, and it's about I don't know, like this kingdom is at war with magical elements or something, and basically like these kids find an egg, like a dragon egg, and they need to return it to the mom dragon, and they have all these kind of like misadventures. But there's also like political intrigue. There's also like just action. There's also comedy. I forget who was behind it. I want to say it was the same people that did Avatar Airbender, but I don't know if that's correct. I may be misremembering that. But anyway, my son and I watched the first season of it I think it was last year, and like 12 episodes, like 20 minutes per episode or something. And we thought it was really good. It was really funny. We really liked it a lot. And the second season just came out. Yeah, this was also there was a brief moment when it got a lot of notoriety, or not notoriety, but it became really in the discussion because one of the characters on Dragon Prince is actually a deaf person. It's a woman, and she's like one of the generals in the army. And she actually, like, number one, she's not like, she is like a person of power. So like she was like calling shots, and she was like ordering people around. She also had like an interpreter that was going along with her in all the scenes, and the sign language they were doing on the show was actually like legit ASL. Like you could actually understand what she was saying when she was doing it. And so there was a couple weeks where people were talking about her as like a good example of integrating like a character with a disability, and how you could show them as being a positive role model, or like, you know, just a person with a life and not just like a disability. So that might be a reason other people might have heard of the Dragon Prince last year. Anyway, really liked it a lot. Second season just hit Netflix, so I think we're going to watch that for sure. Heads up to people out there. I'm sure it's already popped up on your Netflix queue, but just in case, there you go. And I think we liked it so much even, I think we're going to rewatch season 1 with my wife. She didn't see it the first time around, but we're going to rewatch the whole thing with her and just kind of get back into it and get us ready for season 2. So we're really excited about that. Also, heads up that Runaways came back a while ago. My family really liked that show last year. That season 2 is back. We've only got a couple episodes in. We're going to watch some more of that. I'll report more later. And finally, like circling back on another Marvel show, Runaways is Marvel, but on Hulu, or I think it's Hulu, all the stuff on Netflix is canceled. I don't know if you know, you probably don't care, but like Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, and The Punisher, Netflix got real popular for a while because they had like this kind of like second string of Marvel heroes where they weren't necessarily connected to the movies, but they were kind of in the same universe, and they were kind of on their own little zone. Like all those shows got like the axe recently. So people were really buzzing about that because, I mean, some of them were weaker than others, but I think in general they were pretty well liked. And I think people are saying that they all got canceled because Disney is starting its own proprietary download service. And the chatter is that since Disney owns Marvel, that they're going to just like, you know, Netflix loses ownership of those, and they're going to like reboot them on the Disney Channel, whatever that ends up being. They haven't announced what the name of it is yet, so we shall see. Kind of disappointing, but hopefully those shows will continue. I really enjoyed them, and I would like to see more. So we shall see. I know you probably don't care. You didn't watch any of those shows, did you?
I watched about half of the first season of Daredevil, and I watched a little bit. Like Patrick watched, I think, most of the first season of Jessica Jones, and I was sort of like around when he was watching it. I wasn't like, you know, looking at the TV with my eyes peeled, but I was kind of you know, around and caught some of it here and there. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard a lot of the news about it. And I mean, the funnier thing to me is like the idea that Disney is gonna, because this is like all the rage. Like, you know, Netflix popped up, I don't know, like a decade ago with sort of like streaming after it went from totally disc-based to streaming. And then, you know, you had Hulu after a while, and I mean, I don't know what else is out there. There's like CBS or whatever has its own streaming thing, and that's how we watch the new Star Trek show, because we obviously don't have cable here. And what kills me is basically we're just like circling what cable did years ago. Like all of the channels were combined into one package. You paid the cable company and you got everything. And then now everybody is going rogue, and everybody is making their own streaming service that you have to pay for individually. And I'm sure in 5 or 10 years, a revamped cable is going to come back around that's going to bundle all the streaming services together again, and you're going to be able to pay some big parent company in order to get all the streaming services bundled together. And then in 10 years, they're all going to go rogue again and have their own streaming services, and they're going to break off. It's just like this cycle of sort of like individual almost like providers versus like cable. It's just like, I don't know. It seems very cyclical and kind of silly to me.
Yeah, I gotta say, I am not thrilled about the idea of paying for another service. I mean, we already pay for Netflix, which for me is plenty. Like, I don't even have enough time to even watch what's on Netflix, and that does me pretty well. But the wife likes some of the stuff on Hulu, and so, okay, fine, we'll pay for, like, Hulu. I mean, we cut the cable cord a while ago, like, because I was sick of paying so much money for cable. But you know, it starts creeping up again. It's like, you know, cable's a lot. And in our area, we were paying like more than like, it was like more than like $100 a month for cable. It was like ridiculous. I'm like, there's no way we're paying this. We got to cut this off. And you know, Netflix is like $8 or $9 or whatever it is now, 11 or whatever. I mean, whatever, a fraction of what cable was. But then Hulu, and then it's like, oh, but then, you know, we also have Amazon Prime, and so you get the Prime stuff. Although, to be fair, that's part of the whole free shipping thing. So it's kind of like a cost, but not really. But then it's like, you know, there's just all these other things, and I'm just like, God, I don't want to cut cable and then pay like the equivalent of cable for like 14 different streaming services, you know? Like, oh, it's really frustrating. So I don't know, but I mean, to be honest, I mean, Disney has gotten so big, they kind of own like all of the favorite nerd properties, you know? They own Marvel, they own, of course, their own stuff at Disney, they own the Star Wars stuff and the LucasArts stuff. I mean, if you're a fucking nerd and you like those kind of movies, like, there's a lot of incentive to like get that show if they all of a sudden start hosting Marvel stuff, and they're going to have some Star Wars shows, and who else, you know, who knows what else, man. So it's like, oh fuck, like, I don't want to like, whatever. I don't know, man. We'll see. I'll probably end up subscribing, and I'll just be talking about how great the shows are, or who knows what. But anyway.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing to me about the Disney thing is like, you know, because sometimes you're used to seeing shows on Netflix, you know, there's like Black Panther is on Netflix or whatever, but like, so as soon as the Disney thing goes, I mean, I could only guess that everything that's Marvel related is going to be pulled off of Netflix completely, and you're not going to be able to get any of those shows on Netflix unless they work out some kind of deal. So that way, if you want like anything that's related to any properties that Disney owns, you're going to have to go directly to their streaming service. Because like, I think people take for granted the fact that like Netflix like cycles through what they have in their catalog every month, and that it's not the exact same stuff every single month, and they keep building on it. You know, they get stuff, they lose stuff, they get it back, they lose it again, and it goes in and cycles. But now with more streaming services popping up, like obviously if they're like the owners of whatever the production company is, they're going to want to pull it from everything else and have it for themselves. And so it's just like all the stuff that you think you'd be able to get, you know, on Prime or on Netflix or on Hulu or whatever is going to end up being, it's going to get all divided up among whoever owns the production companies for the streaming services. And it's just going to be like a fucking mess. It's so silly.
It's kind of weird because I know that, you know, I remember when Netflix was a mail order service and you would just get like movies on a DVD. And that was how it began. I mean, maybe people have kind of forgotten that's how it got its start, but you know, you started with that. And then, I mean, it's weird because it was known for doing movies, but now all I think of it is just like catching up with TV shows. Like I just watch like all the series, or like, you know, we binge stuff, or like some of their original programming is pretty good. Like I just don't even think of Netflix as being a place that I go for like the latest movies or like hot movies or anything. But you're totally right. I mean, I remember I was flipping through and like it was like Thor Ragnarok was on there. I'm like, whoa, what is this doing here? This is like a big movie that I really liked, and I didn't expect to see this. I was just looking for more of like the baking show and like, you know, whatever sitcom I was looking for. So yeah, but all that stuff's going to be gone. Like all the Star Wars stuff, all the Disney stuff that they had deals in place for is going to be gone. And so, I mean, Disney owns a lot of shit. They own a lot of properties, and I think that they're going to have a pretty compelling portfolio once they finally, you know, regroup and take all their properties back from wherever they are. I mean, I don't know. Disney is getting to be a pretty big power player. I mean, they always were, but like even more so now. Like they're just octopusing out and just grabbing everything. So kind of crazy. Anyway, yeah. I got nothing else on my plate, man. You got anything else on your plate?
I think I am bantered out for today.
Bantered out. All right, dude. We should probably get rolling and start talking about some actual games. What do you say?
That sounds like a good plan to me.
All right, dude. Let's talk about some games.